Okay, so because I understand we're talking about entrepreneurship and we're talking about internet presence and people on using Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and other social media platforms for their businesses. I get a lot of people out there. This is your livelihood. This is how you make money. Legitimize that. But, a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't want the government taking a cut of their money. It's like, I have a cash business.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sam can't track it. I don't have to pay tax on it. But when tax time comes around, I want to bring some stuff into a tax company and say, this is what I did. I want to file taxes so I can get some earned income credit.
Right.
And then I know a lot of tax preparers who will say, show me what you got. Show me that your business is legitimate. Walking into a tax business with your Instagram account and
Yo, I got 10,000 followers, son.
It's showing people that this person purchased this from you in X, Y, and Z does not provide proof that you're actually in business. Now, people are moving more and more towards, I know at the top of the show I mentioned PushPay and Cash App and Venmo and all of these money exchanging services. That having a way to track your cash. That's the thing I tell people all the time. How do you know how much money you made at the end of the year? This is a standard question that I ask people. How do you know how much money you make at the end of the year? Well, I don't know. I made about 12. How do you know that? Well,
I'm guessing.
I'm just, because I just think about you don't know. And just like I'm asking you, how do you know? The same thing that the IRS is going to say if they get this tax return and they decide to audit you. How do you know how much money you made? So doing things like Cash App or Venmo or PushPay or Zelle,
PayPal,
anything that can give you a record of gross amount of money somebody sent you or a group of somebody sent you. Anything that you can do to legitimize yourself, in the eyes of the man.
IRS.
You know?
So like here's now what if you're running, well, let's start from the top and then we'll get in that because I want to talk about a cash only business as well. Some of the considerations to take when you're opening these kinds of businesses, and what I'm talking about is stuff that people in our community tend to do, and not to lump them all into one, but we see a lot of people selling clothes, doing hair products. We have someone that we know that likes to buy their eyelashes off of Facebook. So things like that. What are some considerations you would want to take when going into these specific businesses?
And are we talking about cash, or are we talking about business structure, or we're talking about
business structure? Well, let's start there. Business structure. Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, just most people don't want the government to know that they're out there. For what reason?
Until they want to get that refund.
Exactly. I don't know. But as we just said, if you
wait, hold on. I can actually name a few reasons why they don't want the government to know they're out here. Child support, student loans,
disability,
Social Security.
All true and all true. But do you know that if you actually file a tax return or you legitimize yourself, if you can make a certain, and that's something else that people
Section 8.
People think
WIC.
If they're on Social Security, they can't make money. That's false. You can actually make a certain amount of money and still continue to receive Social Security.
What's the limit? Do we know?
About 20,000.
What about disability?
Same thing. You can make a certain amount of money and everything.
Won't that change your? So that won't change your.
Well, not.
Okay, so hold on. Now I'm interested. I'm intrigued. let's use say I got a boy Jason, right? Jason was over in Iraq and he got injured, came back. He's no longer in the military and he cannot work now. He's receiving, let's say, $2,000. I don't know how this shit works, but let's say $2,000 a month for his disability. He has a dependent child as well, right? So if Jason goes out and becomes a greeter at Walmart and he's making $8 to $10 an hour, say his take home every month is about, I don't know, $1,000.
Okay.
So his $2,000 that he's getting is not going to be affected.
It doesn't change. I personally know people who are on disability and they work, and it doesn't change the amount of their disability because they can make a certain range of money. Now, I said $20,000. That is specific to people who are on Social Security, not necessarily Social Security disability. Now, there's another part of Social Security called SSI, which is Supplemental Social Security Income. That is based on your need. So if you are on SSI and you make a certain amount of money, that can affect the amount of SSI that you receive. Because as I said, it's supplemental because of your need, right? Because you are lower income and you need supplemental income.
Gotcha.
So if you start making above a certain amount of money, then that is going to affect that.
Okay. Well, that is some reasons that people would not want the government to be able to track their income.
Right. But then
some of the other things, the child support and what have you.
But then as we stated, then tax time comes. And then I want to claim this on my tax return.
Not me.
I want to claim this on my tax return because I heard I can get $6,000 for every child that I have.
I heard these days it's like 22,000, dog. Like,
now I heard that don't matter how much money I make, a 2-year-old I'm gonna get 6,000, which that's a different show. But anyway, talking about business structures, and at the top of the show, Dan mentioned sole proprietors, meaning me, myself, and I. You can be a sole proprietor. Sole proprietorship is a recognized business structure. It is recognized by the state, and I'm going to say that loosely. It's recognized by the IRS for tax purposes as well. But the problem with sole proprietorships, just being a sole proprietor and not having any kind of legal business structure, comes in. If you are a sole proprietor and you have a business, let's say you have a business detailing cars, all right, and you're detailing somebody's new Jag, and you use some sort of chemical on it, and it totally jacks the paint job of this new Jag.
And you be like, that shit was like that before you bought it to me, son.
No, and then the owner of the Jag wants to sue you. Well, as a sole proprietor, you have no other legal structure. You're totally liable for any liability of that business.
Right.
So not only is the income or any sort of profit that you receive from that business at jeopardy, your personal property is also at jeopardy. So if you have a house, if you have a car, that's all in jeopardy too, because somebody sues you. The only things that you have of value are the things that you personally own, right? Even though the business might have $10,000 in the bank, because you're a sole proprietor, you can't hide behind any business structure. So that means that any liability that this business has is your personal liability.
So this Jaguar with the jacked up paint job, that's your responsibility. Now let me ask you this, right? So you say your property is, I mean, for lack of a better word, that's your money. If you don't own it outright, like your home, it's mortgaged, the bank owns it. Your car, you don't own it, you're still paying for it, the bank owns it. Can that stuff be used as
lien? You can get a lien. Can you say lien? You can put a lien against your
I
your
can
home.
say lien, but the lien I can say is the kind you drank.
No, but someone can get a judgment against you and then put a lien against your home. So that means when you sell it, when and if, so you're as that person is a creditor, right? So the bank.
So the dude with the Jag is a creditor.
If he puts a lien on your home, if he decides, all right, you just messed up an $80,000 car, and now I want my $80,000.
Give my money, nigga.
So you don't have $80,000 in the bank, but that was just that detailing job was your side hustle. You have a job, you know, because that is emphasis on a job. When you say anything you say twice, that means you're putting emphasis on it. So you have a job. So now I can go get a judgment against you, a money judgment. And so once I have this judgment in hand, now I can garnish your wages. I can put a lien on your home.
Now, a way around that. Now, this is just
quit your job.
Kind of. This is in my experience, right? In my experience, I know a lot of these people. That sound like some racist shit. I'm about to say some racist shit.
You are.
I was
these
about
people.
To say.
He is America in the extreme.
You people need but a lot of the people that I know that run businesses, and they're not very big businesses. It's tennis shoe money, basically. That's what we used to call selling drugs when you selling nickels and dimes. That's tennis shoe money.
Tennis shoe money.
So they're on government assistance already. They're getting Section 8. They're getting housing vouchers, child care vouchers. They're getting all kinds of welfare and government assistance. But they're also doing this online, right? So I really fucking forgot where I was going with this. So I'm gonna just keep talking until something happens.
Until you remember where you were going.
Happens. But no, they do all this and they do it under the radar, right?
Right.
The motherfucker. What were we even talking about?
The ways to get around.
Oh, the ways to get around what? Help me.
Dang it, man.
Jesus. The way to get around somebody suing you and garnishing.
There we go.
Come on now. Are you sure that you didn't take something?
Man, I didn't. I need to. No. So anyway, like I was saying, that's why I was bringing up the government assistance and everything else, because it's like they don't need this side business. That's what that side hustle.
Right.
So if you sue them, they just shut down shop, and what you gonna get? Their government assistance? You gonna get their project house?
All right. So wait. So what else do they have? Because they
ain't got shit.
That's not true. Most of the people that I know that are on government assistance don't need to be.
Well, yeah.
Because most of the people I know, not knocking anybody, but growing up, I had a lot of friends who lived in the projects, and most of them lived better than me. My daddy had a 9-to-5. My mom was a housewife. My dad had a 9-to-5. We owned a home, true. My dad had a car, true. But most of the kids that I knew living in a project were doing better than I did. They ate steak and shrimp every night, wore everything that came out fresh, had new Jordans, wasn't Gucci, but at the time, you had Polo, you had Jabot, you had, Tree Torns and Bally.
Eddie Bauer.